What's up, everybody? It's gear time with your boy Dana Soréy and Coast to Coast, exclusively Dana TV. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? I'm your boy Dana Soréy, and welcome to It's Gear Time with my man Coast to Coast. I'm Dana Soréy.
I'm Kosta Johnson.
Listen, we have my friends that came through today. They were at the Green Turtle or Red Lobster. I don't know, what restaurant were you guys at?
What was it called?
Grain.
Oh,
H2O.
Grain. I remember that.
Or Red Lobster.
Whatever. So we have our friends Chris and Gabe from the company DPA. How you guys feeling today?
Good. Yeah.
Listen, we
Happy
are
to be
super
here.
excited about the gear that we have. The presentation was just super amazing, and we're excited to talk to you all. And welcome to It's Gear Time. You know what I mean? I really put these guys on the spot, Costa, didn't we? We didn't want them to, think about it. We're going to be on
We wanted
camera.
to keep them on their toes a little bit,
Well, we're going to talk. We're talking microphones today, guys. Costa, what are we rapping about today?
So the first one we're going to look at is the 4099 from DPA. So the first time I had encountered the 4099 was on drums, on toms, which I feel like is where a lot of people will see it for the first time. But after the presentation today, I was really learning a lot more about it, how versatile it could be, and that you have two versions of it with like different SPL levels that it can take on. Could you all tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, go for it.
Me, go for it.
Yeah.
Come on, Gabe, talk about it.
I'm Gabriel. So the 4099 is a sort of like the Swiss Army knife of miking different instruments. We have two different colors that you could see at first. One is red, one is yellow. So the red will be the loud version. The yellow will be the extreme SPL version. 142 dB, 152 dB for the yellow. So we'd put this on drums and trumpet.
Okay.
Right.
We'd put this on pianos, acoustic guitars, violins, upright bass, and so on. The principle is a supercardioid microphone. It's sort of born from a shotgun principle, right, Chris? Mm-hmm. So we're actually getting the plane waves from the sound source in the midair, non-electronically, and we're creating directionality from that. And we deliver it all on a real handy gooseneck.
Yeah, that's
That
great.
can be
so cool.
That can be adapted to, for instance, if we want to put it on piano, it's just as easy as putting this on here. It would be the red version, of course.
Yeah.
But and then we slide that lock on there, just
that's
like
cool.
that.
Oh,
Position
wow.
our microphone, and then if we had metal, is there metal here?
Yep, there you go.
This would easily stick to the harp of the piano. We find our sweet spot.
Yeah.
We keep moving it to find it. So that's one thing. Chris?
And
what do you
Gabe,
think?
can you break down too? Because sometimes we have some of our listeners are really gearheads, and some are just novice and are just more interested in what does that do or what is that. So could you explain what cardioid means?
So we have first order cardioid, we have supercardioid. So the cardioid would be the cardioid pattern that it's picking up, which is that traditional first order, which is sort of like this, highly rejective on the back of the microphone. Supercardioid would be more narrow of a pickup, so more of a fall off around 135 degrees off axis.
Okay.
The wide cardioid would be more of a half moon, which we might call the 4015, which we're not talking about today. But that would be highly rejective in the back and full capture in the front. And it should also be said that the wider the polar pattern is, the less proximity it will get. So when you get a directional microphones have 2 points of entry. They have a rear and a front. And the difference in timing between the two is what creates the directionality.
Wow.
So it's all physics.
Yeah.
And so I think this microphone is like 5.7 inches. So if this was a drum, Chris's coffee cup, if I go too close to the drum, I'm going to have a rise in low energy. If I go to where the factory tells me to go in a good situation, in a good room, I should have no rise in low energy. If I go away from it, I have a decrease in low energy.
Wow.
So that's where we can sort of manage that. You've heard the big radio voice, when they get too close. Sometimes it's cool, but sometimes it's too boomy. It's like trying to unbake a cake. So once it's in there, it's sort of in there. So this is where the proximity helps. With a 4015 with a wide cardioid, that's going to be the most forgiving as far as proximity effect goes.
Got you.
It's closer to an omni.
I got you. Now, what mic are you What instrument on the drums are you using this for? Just toms? Are you using this for hi-hats or overheads at any point? Like what is the best usage of this on the drum? Just toms?
You want to start with that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would primarily, most people know these for tom mics and what we normally see out there. A lot of people use them for underheads instead of going overheads over a drum kit. They'll basically, we have a Velcro mount. They will strap them to the cymbal stands and point them directly underneath of the cymbals and keeps everything isolated. So they're used a lot for that. They're used for snare mics.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that you actually can mic your overheads under the cymbal. And the reasoning for that is what you just said.
Yeah, everything's isolated, and it keeps a clean line of sight for the stage if that's an issue with if people don't want to see mic stands.
Right.
It also makes things super easy to set up and take down because there's no mic stands to have to worry about. Things are just strapped to the cymbal stands.
Wow.
Metallica, that's how they do all of their cymbals mic'd. A lot of the metal bands do, not just Metallica, but a lot of metal bands will mic a bunch of cymbals underneath. Keeps it, again, super isolated. They have a lot of cymbals, historically.
Yeah.
And that's how they get their sound instead of just kind of two overheads.
Yeah, wow. Now, Kosta would tell you, I'm a sucker for a universal mic. So, Kosta, what did you tell me earlier of the presentation? I think I may have walked away and grabbed a apple cider donut or something. What happened? You were talking about how universal that microphone is, Kosta.
Oh yeah. So especially the fact that there are two versions essentially, for how loud an instrument source is. Like we were saying, we're cutting acoustic guitar. I could go grab the mic off the tom, put it on acoustic guitar, give it a little more love. But the fact that you can have a mic that is going to work in, we just talked about using it as an underhead, and it'll also sound beautiful on a violin or a mandolin. Like it's pretty crazy that you could have that many uses on one particular mic. And y'all were telling us, we were talking before this, that a lot of that comes from the fact that it's a very flat frequency response, right? That's like, it's not, there's no like EQ or flavor built in. It's, it is exactly what you're looking at, and, really comes down to like the player and the positioning and all that.
You were taking good notes.
I was trying.
It's absolutely true. It also could be wireless or hardwired.
Okay.
By using our adapter system for third-party wireless
There's usually a
systems.
cable that's attached to this, and the other end of the cable is either an XLR for wiring or a wireless adapter for a pack.
And it's a Kevlar reinforced cable, so it's very strong for the live market. And I've even used a violin clip for this on the front of the kick drum.
Wow.
To get the snap. I mean, it handles 152 decibels. It's more than
we're
enough.
talking super universal, guys.
Yeah. So even the one that handles the low amount of SPO, we call low, or we still call it a loud. It's the loud version.
Okay.
It's 142. So you're going to be hard pressed to even go over 142 for most normal things.
Right.
When you do get there, that's why we introduced the 152 one. But even the 142, if this is all you have and you have to mic up, toms, it's probably going to be fine unless John Bonham's playing or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody with like tree trunks for using first stick. So, and again, if all you have is one of the high extreme SPL versions and you have to mic a violin, like you said, all right, gain, it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
But it's now we have a puppet show. But it's completely manageable. I mean, it's the same microphone. It's just different amounts of sensitivity in SPL.
Right.
Well, I tell you, this is, I tend to give names and vibes to microphones in my gear. And this is a very pretty girl. I mean, she's just gorgeous. She's very petite, somewhat like my wife. But there's also a heavy hitter. We have a heavy hitter that you guys were telling me about.
Give us a kiss,
defect. I'll give you a kiss, baby. Later, not on camera. So there's a heavy hitter, and we have a masculine guy in here called the defector.
Yes.
Now, this microphone, let me tell you why I got excited about this microphone, because you guys know So me and Kosta and I, we do live remote recordings, and we also do studio recordings. But for live recordings, it is the biggest problem that I have is once I go and get the live mic, I capture the live mic with my artists. They always want a wireless mic, but when we have to go do a punch, I take it back to the studio, and we have the hardest time matching the overdub mic. So he showed me this mic. Oh my goodness. And then he began to break it down that I could literally take the capsule off of this. You could pretty much buy the attachment from a DPA and use the capsule for the mic that you want to use wirelessly, and then take the capsule back to the studio and get the signal the same signal. So we're punching and getting the same audio.
Exactly. I mean, you just kind of explained it, but I mean, that's the one of the beauties of this microphone of the De Facto is the modularity of it. So a lot of what we do for our higher end studio mics, they're all modular, like we showed you earlier. Take the capsules off the preamps and mix and match, and kind of like we call them Legos. You build what you need, basically. And the beauty of this, one of the beauties of this microphone is that it's a Lego microphone. It's a build it as you need it. So like you're talking about, right? You're doing your live thing at the church. The singers, maybe there's a Sennheiser, a Shure handle, or some wireless system on here. There's your wireless thing. He or she's singing, you're capturing it. Now you got to go hit some overdubs in the studio the next day or whatever. Take the grill off. Take the capsule off of the wireless adapter, and that's all that is just an adapter. Stick it on the wired adapter, which again we call it a wired adapter. Put the capsule and the grill back on, and now you're wired. Same exact capsule, same sound. I mean, the difference in sound is going to be the wireless transmission, but the capsule itself is identical. So that's the beauty of it. There's two different capsules to choose from in this for the De Facto. There's a VL, a flat one. We call it vocal linear. Flat, like most of the things we do, and then there's also a V capsule, which has a high frequency lift to kind of make it a little more airy and pretty for the people that are kind of used to using colored microphones, right? Stuff that we don't normally do, but there is one that some people like. They need that kind of color in their ears, or color cutting through the PA, that little bump, you know what I mean?
It's like 8 to 12.
It's got an 8 to 12. It's got a frequency lift on the top end. And this one, the one we like is the flat vocal linear version. So it's completely isolated shock mount wise.
I love it.
It's a studio microphone. It's the body of a studio, or I should say really the brains of a studio mic and the body of a stage mic. I mean, this is a studio capsule made for the stage. That's what it is.
I'm taking it home. But listen, we want you to guys. We want to get you guys involved in getting a piece of this gear and getting some more information on this. I do want to talk pricing. Kosta, you have any ideas of pricing? I don't know if we went over.
I'll have to kick it over to the experts.
Let's kick it over. Let's talk pricing, because that's the most important part at the end of the day. Chris, don't hurt our feelings.
Now you're gonna have to look online to confirm that I'm actually know what I'm talking about.
Get us close.
Yeah. I'm just gonna double everything. Yeah, exactly. For the De Facto, we're looking at about $1,100, so a little over $1,000 for that, and that's either a wired version or a complete wireless version.
Right.
But the cool thing is once you've spent $1,000 or $1,100 on this, to get a wireless adapter is $300-ish roughly. So you can kind of have a wired and wireless version for, let's say, under $1,500 as a rough number, which is very cool. So, and the 4099s, a single one of those are $650 each, and that includes a clip. It could be, the bass or the guitar or the piano or whatever. And a stereo pair, like for piano, like we were talking about earlier, is $1,300.
Listen, that is not bad at all. We aim to please here at Gear Time. We thank DPA for coming out and hanging out with us. You know what I mean? Thank you guys for hanging out. Man. Thanks for bringing. I mean, they gave us a great presentation. I mean, it was just so good. I want to buy pretty much everything, but I can't. You know what I mean? So they're going to hopefully, hook me up with some stuff.
$1,100, I'll hook you up.
There you go.
There's.
Give you a coffee.
All right, fine. All right, $10.99.
Well, listen, we're going to get out of here. Well, we thank you for coming and hanging out. Hopefully you catch up with us on our next episode. How can they catch us on the next episode, Coast?
Got to go to youtube.com. Look up Dana TV. And subscribe.
Subscribe today. It's Gear Time with your boy Dana Soréy and Coast to Coast. We will see you guys next time.
Catch you later.
It's your boy Dana Soréy, and I'm about that stay-home money. I hope you checked out our new show, It's Gear Time, with my man Coast to Coast. Do not miss this week's episode coming up.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, where do they have to go to get it, bro?
You gotta go to youtube.com and go to Dana TV.
That's all it is, y'all.